Hello and welcome, or welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and this is my week in books and art. I listened to a few audiobooks this week. One of them was The Black Wolf by Louise Penny, who's a mystery author, and I love her series. It's very cozy mystery, except this one had turned into the last two are more spy thriller than cozy mystery, so it's morphed. But I mean, it is book 20. You can only have a mystery in a small town in rural Quebec so many times before it gets a bit. I don't know. Not that this is terribly plausible, but I mean, people grabbing for power, I guess, is terribly plausible, but anyhow, it was a good book. I liked it. I'm not very objective about her books, I don't think, because they're just, I don't know, they're cozy winter hot chocolate in a blanket sort of books, for me anyway. And then I listened to Winter in the Blood by James Welch. This one I'd gotten because of Rachel at Second Thoughts About the Mission, and because it was supposed to be an Indigenous book that could fit sort of, at least kind of, into the Goth Lit November sort of paradigm, and it kind of did. It's a strange little book. It's not very long, and it's not got a super straightforward linear plot. It's more like moments in life, like vignettes or something that are sort of strung together. They're all related. It's the same story with the same main character, who's a bit confused about his life. So the experience of reading the book is a bit confusing, but it kind of works because his life is a bit disorienting, and he's not really sure, or doesn't seem anyway to me to be sure, like, who he is and what he's doing, and I can't really tell you the things that happen because it'll give it away, but yeah, the author, I think, is Blackfeet, which is cool because I live on the Canadian side of the border of the Blackfoot Confederacy, so that's always neat to hear those stories, and or their stories, and yeah, it was, I mean, but for both of these books, Winter in the Blood and The Black Wolf, like, I wasn't blown away, but I really liked both of them. So I don't know. Yeah, I'll stop rambling now. And then I listened to, well, okay, I've got about an hour left in the audiobook, but I had to record this, so I'll finish it today. This is The Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough. Apparently it's the best-selling Australian book ever, and if you've seen the movie Australia, it's kind of got that feel at the beginning. But it's a story of one woman's life from her childhood to her old age, and her family, and their life on this farm, sheep farm in Australia. Drogheda? Something like that. It's an Irish word that I can't pronounce properly, despite the fact I'm listening to an audiobook of it. And it's got, you know, the forbidden love story and everything that should be a bit creepy and somehow manages to not be creepy, which is impressive. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of just a beautiful, it's very long. It's like 700 pages. This one's 900 pages. I'll get to that. And this does not fit into Goth Lit November, but I listened to it because all my books came in at the library at once on Libby. So I'm listening to all the library books that I've had on hold forever because I forgot to suspend holds before Goth Lit November, so Goth Lit November might end up being sort of December too, because the other book I listened to was Ninth Street Women. Lee Krasner, Elaine de Kooning, Grace Hartigan, Joan Mitchell, and Helen Frankenthaler. In my defense, that's a heck of a last name. 5 painters and the movement that changed modern art. I love the cover. I think this is Helen on the cover. It's by Mary Gabriel, and it's a sort of biography, but it's an art-focused biography. So it doesn't start like when they're all babies and grow up. Like, it touches a little bit on their childhood insofar as it affected their life choices, and the opportunities that they had to become the artists that they became. But that's not really the point. The point is their art and the developments in modern art, particularly the abstract expressionist movement that included Lee Krasner's husband, Jackson Pollock, and Elaine de Kooning's husband, Bill or Willem de Kooning, and then various other people in their sort of circle in New York in the 40s and 50s. It goes up until they start to pass away in the 80s and 90s. So it goes up until then, but the bulk of the book is focused on the 40s and 50s and the development of this art movement. And it's so interesting. It was really fun to listen to. I enjoyed it a lot. It does come with pictures, which is the best kind of book. Where was the one I was gonna... Oh yeah, these were the most fun ones. Here, I'll just get my sticky note out of the way of them in their studios. And it is, I mean, there are times when the book is infuriating, not through the fault of the author, but because the amount of sexism that they had to deal with in the art world. That was, you know, the men's world, and they were the, you know, little wife on the arm of the real painter in the case of Krasner and de Kooning. And then in the case of the other women, they were like, they did feminine paintings of like feelings and things, and it's just so ridiculous. Like they were as serious about their work as the men, and as good at it as the men. And in fact, I like both Lee Krasner and Elaine de Kooning's work better than their husband's work. I mean, I realized Pollock in particular was quite groundbreaking in a lot of ways. I'm not saying he wasn't, I'm just saying I like her work better. And she also was equally groundbreaking, and I'm not sure that you could say, in fairness, which most people don't do, who was more groundbreaking between the two de Koonings, because they did very similar things, and they obviously influenced each other quite a lot. So yeah, there was a lot of that to be dealing with, because, you know, it was the 50s. Like in the 40s, women had started working during the war, but by the 50s, everybody was supposed to be, you know, all domestic and housewifey, and these women were just not gonna do that. A couple of them tried it for a minute, and it didn't go well for the most part. So yeah, it was a really fun book. And then I got this book, which weighs 1.5 tons. This is Joan Mitchell. It's a book by an art gallery is this? The San Francisco Museum of Modern Art in association with Yale University Press. Why was that so difficult to say? I don't know. Also produced with the Baltimore Museum of Art. And it's a bunch of essays, 10 main essays plus 4 little sort of interstitials, and then a bunch of plates of her work and various photos and whatnot. So and it's got some of these, I don't know if I can show this to you without wrecking things. So it's got a bunch of these plates, and then it's got some that come out like, this isn't working at all well. I don't know if you can see that because I can't see it, but there we go. It's got that sort of thing. And I don't always read all the essays and things in art books. Sometimes I just look at the pictures. But in this one, I read it cover to cover, and it was so good. I really, like, it's funny reading. Why is my screen flickering all of a sudden? Doesn't seem to like that painting. I'm not actually sure I would have liked all of these people as people, like all the 9th Street women, but I like their work a lot. So, I don't know, they could be quite difficult women, but then again, it's hard to know if they were called difficult in the 50s. I feel like that probably didn't take much. You know what I mean? So, like, were they as difficult as their reputations suggest, or was it just because it was the 50s and people were sexist? It's kind of hard to tell. And then it has these, let me try and find one of the little, yeah, more plates, there's tons of plates in here. It's so fun. Bunch of essays, and then these are the little interstitials, little moments of, it's very flickery. Don't know what that's about. Anyway, it's a massive book. It's very, very heavy paper. It's like 400 pages long. I want to get one. There's one published by an art museum about Helen Frankenthaler, and then another one I've ordered about Elaine de Kooning. There are a couple books about her, and she did a lot of portraits. Like she did a portrait of JFK, I think one of his official portraits, which is very famous. And but she did a lot of other things too. Like she did as many experimental things as her husband, but she's known for the portraits because that was a more womanly thing to, whatever, it's stupid. Anyway, so I got the non-portraits book to start with, which I assume will have some portraits in it because, anyway, that's that. So that was my reading for the week, which was, I feel, quite a lot. And then I did some puttering about with various and sundry art supplies. I don't have the little paintings I did. They're little, like, yay big. I'll stick photos in because I stuck them on my wall just with painter's tape, and that only has one good stick. Like chocolate frogs or something, only one good jump, and then it's done. I don't want to have to rehang them up, so I'll stick them in. But it was a lot of fun. I was playing with a couple new acrylic colors I got, and playing with texture and movement and transparency, which I'd never really played with before. So that was exciting. And then I'm still working on this. I'll be working on it for a while. This Art Prof track, the anatomy and figure drawing one. But I got tired of Edward Muybridge because, you know, he can only do the same thing so many times. So I've got a book called The Nude in Art by D.M. Field. I got it secondhand on thrift books, I think. And it's nude artwork from this one and various other prehistoric ones to modern, all around the world too. It's quite international. India's got its own chapter because they got a lot going on there. And then there's a Renaissance chapter, obviously, because they had a big moment. So this is Titan, I think. And this is Spangler, whatever the dude's name is. So these are just the 5-minute ones. At some point, we'll get into longer. I think it's the 5th module. It's like longer studies of shadow and form. Why is my screen so flashy today? It's over enthusiastic. Woo. So that's that. And then I went to the art store yesterday because I was running out of some paints because of these paintings. And then I got some other things because they were on sale. Whoops. Which might have been a mistake because now I need to get some more. So, oh yeah, I did some more work on these gouache paintings that I'd started. So I like them a bit better now. Because they were at first just like testing out how to do with gouache. And then I got Inktense. The shop that I went to had a set of 5 Inktense pencil crayons in a set that were like 50% off or something. So I thought, well, okay, they're on my list of things to try. For 50% off, that's pretty good. Like, you know, you're not gonna get a better deal than that likely unless there's something wrong with them. And so I got them and I love them. And now I'm gonna have to go back and get some more colors because these were just these like greens and browns. Here, I'll show you the actual swatch page. These colors, they were these colors. And then I got one of these Posca pens because you can order a set. So I got a color that is not included in the set in case I really liked it, but like, look at that, it's so fun. So I did, this is the pencil crayon, the Inktense pencil crayon, which is pretty fun. And then I went back and layered up on those gouache paintings, some pencil crayon and the little, whatchamacallem, oil pastels that I keep just in my little travel kit because they're not mushy. Like mushy is my favorite oil pastel, but it's not very practical for out and about. So that's that. So I will be getting more of these for sure, and some more Inktense pencil crayons for sure. And I've got stocked up on all my paint now, so I'm good for a bit until, whoops, there goes the lid. That's a problem. Yeah, so that's my week. And it was quite full and a lot of fun for the most part, except for the news. But I stayed off the internet for most of the week, so that was a relief. I'll get caught up on the news in a week or two once I've mentally recovered from the last bout of catching up on the news. Anyhow, that's all for this week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.